Hey, welcome to the full 42. Actually, it's not the full 42 because we're missing Mike today, unfortunately. But we have guest Luke Laurie with us. Say hi, Luke.
Hi, Luke.
I always wonder if people are going to pull that old.
I know that's terrible. A bad
Yeah.
dad joke. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's great. If you'd like to tell people a little bit about yourself, you can. I got a list of your games over here, some of them anyway, right over my shoulder.
Well, I'm the designer of Dwellings of Eldervale, Whistle Mountain Cryo, the Manhattan Project Energy Empire, most of those co-designing with other designers. And in 2 weeks, my next game, Andromeda's Edge, is going to be on Gamefound. Super excited about that because, Chris, you're helping out on that project too.
Yep.
It's a big game.
Yeah. Another big one.
Another big project. Yeah.
You tend to, at least recently, like your first game was Stones of Fate, right? It's a small box.
Yeah, little tiny thing, $20 game, and that was kind of to get my feet wet. And but I always design big games. That game also was an offshoot of slice of a larger game that I never finished. So I've always been designing big games, and fortunately, people want to publish them these days.
Yeah. Awesome. So I like to throw our new guest into what I like to call a lightning round. This is, let me present my screen here. Okay. Oh, good. They gave me a totally new way to do this that is confusing. Yep.
Well, we're on the same page then, because I've never done this before either. Right. So
there you go.
There we go. All right.
Level playing field.
All right. So this is the lightning round. It's going to be a nice tree structure, and we'll see which way you go. At the bottom, once it's all said and done, there's a very scientific process here that's going to tell you what fictional character you're most like. It's very scientific.
Okay. So it's going to tell me what I should do with my life.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent.
Yep. All right. So first question, fantasy or sci-fi?
You saved the hardest one for first.
For you, yeah.
Sci-fi.
All right. Han Solo or Indiana Jones?
Indiana Jones.
Ooh. Ninjas or pirates?
Ninjas. Easy.
Oh, that was quick.
Super easy.
Sean Connery or Daniel Craig?
Oh, another hard one. If I was younger, this would be easier, but I've got to go Sean Connery. Oh,
that's a good one.
Good choice.
Always wear a cowboy hat or a top hat?
Ooh. Neither is not an option.
No, you
gotta go yellow or red.
Well, top hat is Monopoly. Am I running out of time?
No, we're not like the Oscars here. We're not gonna like throw music to.
I'm gonna honor Johnny Pack and go with the cowboy hat.
Very nice.
Nice. Always be sticky or slimy?
Always be never.
These aren't all good ones.
God, which one's slimy is easier to get off? Be slimy.
Okay. Fly but crash when landing, or look like anyone but 1 foot shorter.
Are we going back to Harrison Ford here? Yeah, look like anyone but 1 foot shorter.
Nice. Live as the main character in Groundhog Day or Die Hard?
Die Hard. Not even a choice.
You could play a lot of games at Groundhog Day.
Die Hard. I would keep my shoes on.
Yes.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Michelangelo or Donatello?
Donatello.
Oh, we're getting near the end here. Know yourself fully or know others fully?
Oh, this is a question about age. I think a long time ago, what I would have definitely said, know yourself fully, but sometimes I get tired of myself now. So I think I'll know others fully.
Oh.
All right. And that tells us you are 100% just like. I'm kind of scared because I don't remember who's behind here. You are Edna from The Incredibles.
Am I going to make you a super suit?
You do make cool stuff. So that's the trip you took
Wow,
down the
that
tree
is
there.
really interesting. That was hard.
Oh, that's funny.
It's always we get a lot of different results in that one. I'm pleased that people go all different directions, but some of these I like to question about, but since it's lightning rod, but like you said, Sean Connery, Daniel Craig, you said when you were younger you might have gone Daniel Craig, but when you were younger, Daniel Craig had less movies, right?
No. If I was younger, I wouldn't have known who Sean Connery was, and then it would have been an easier choice.
This is true. Yeah.
No capes.
I know, that's funny. I actually made a reference to that in a video that I posted this week. Because I'm making mosaic and the guy has a cape. And I said, no capes. Well, he actually needs one. So it's funny that came up.
And it the first question being sci-fi or fantasy, that's the standard first question I always start with, but I don't know if it's ever been so what's the word? It just perfect for this guest.
Oh,
Well,
for me,
I'm
it's
a huge
brutal
fan
choice.
of dwellings, and that's fantasy, like 100%. And so I was curious to see what you would answer.
Yeah. And you know what's funny is a lot of fantasy like leaks in sci-fi these days, and vice versa. But fantasy, like the whole Blizzard universe is full of guns and explosives and mechs and things like that. And in Dwellings, we stayed true to fantasy. Andromeda's Edge, we didn't. Andromeda's Edge, the universe contains everything. So fantasies in the universe, and in our universe anyway.
It's been announced there's space dragons, so
they're definitely at least the space dragons that people have heard of, at least.
And I've always argued that Star Wars is fantasy in space, and that's why it kind of usually grabs people who like fantasy and stuff too. So,
yep, laser swords, Dune too.
Yeah.
Well, Dune
and
first, of course.
Jedi or mages, and yeah. So that was a lightning round that I forgot to put up the lightning round banner, but that's what that was for.
Yay, lightning round banner!
We're always behind. It's okay.
Okay, here's one I won't forget to do because we that's what the main title of the show is, which is our top 5 Euro games. So when putting this together, did you have any, like, how do you define Euro these days? A lot of them blend together, at least in traditional, like 5-6 years ago, maybe even less than that, but it was very obvious, if it had very flat Euro looking art and had nothing but cubes, Euro, Fantasy had a bunch of dice, Fantasy Flight kind of stuff, but now it all blends together stuff. So I'm just kind of curious, like when you hear Euro, do you even think of that as a separation anymore?
So back in the old days when we were doing the League of Game Makers and we'd write articles on these topics, we would have some pretty heated conversations about these definitions, these terms, whether or not these terms should even be used. But games themselves have even changed in the last decade, which is interesting. But I feel like some of it is an aesthetic that tricked people, because back in the day, if you had any kind of miniatures or you had like attack cards and you're rolling dice in battle, you were playing Ameritrash, and those would be American style games. You're duking it out, you're jockeying for position, you're player eliminating, you're taking away other people's life points, etc. But Euro games they sometimes had that illusion that they were calm and careful and cubes, but sometimes you were killing other people's cubes. There were cutthroat, brutal Euros in the 90s and early aughts that if you go back and you play them today, you'd be like, wow, this game is ruthless and mean. And that same game actually might struggle in the market today because of, we tend to have more of a universal ramp up so that all players get a chance in the game. And I think that's true in Euro games that you might see as Euro games. And I think that games you might not see as Euro games have adopted some of those same norms as well. So that said, I don't think anyone, well, maybe, I don't think anyone would debate the games that I chose for my top 5. For me, it's easy to look in the cabinet and see the games that are Euros to me, and that mostly I'm not trying to crush and kill my opponent in these games. I'm trying to do my best work, which may involve competition. It may involve jockeying for position against my foes, but it isn't actually going to be taking away direct opportunities from the opponent or harming them in a way where they can't come back.
It's interesting. I might actually have one that feels a little bit that way, but it's a little old school too, so we'll see. I like the old, I don't know if it's old, but the argument of the randomness before choice or choice before randomness kind of dictates that kind of thing, but for the most part, I think I just have ones that feel more Euro-y than...
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I sort of I chose my games and then I went and double checked with, I just simply Googled, is this considered a Euro? And then all of them were yes. So I'm like, okay, good. Because I know that there are probably some that don't feel as Euro as others, but I had a list of 10. So I had backups if some of them showed up as not being so much Euro. But yeah.
I can't imagine there's going to be a lot that I'm going to be like, wait a minute, that, but who knows? There's always arguments to be had, but we don't need to get into that. So our number, this is, since Mike's not here, he's usually drinking whiskey on the show. So
can you give me numbers? Because I don't have a frame of reference, but
how much?
I don't know. He usually refills ones.
There you go.
Yeah.
I can assure you, I'm drinking the right amount of whiskey.
There you go.
Do you have an old fashioned over there?
Yes.
Looks like it.
Touch of Aperol in there, but yes, it's an old fashioned.
Very nice.
All right, so Luke, do you want to start? And we can go around. Wait, this is the wrong one. Hold on, let me see. That's wrong. Nope, that's still wrong. Why am I still going wrong? Hold on. There we go. There we go. There we go.
You just like totally opened a time-space vortex. We got to be careful.
Oh yeah. We'll go to Katia and then me, and we'll just go in a circle.
So we'll start with Luke.
Yeah. So Luke, what would be your number 5 Euro game?
Okay.
Also, just out of curiosity, are you putting these like 5? I mean, 1 is better than 2, 2 is better than 3, 3 is better than 4, or did you just kind of pick out your top 5 in general?
Okay, so these are the only 5 Euro games I've played. I jumbled them around. The reality is I get to learn so few games and play so few games because I'm playing my own gigantic games hundreds and hundreds of times. And it really does take away from the opportunity to learn what's out there. So probably my list is dated as well. But so I think I would have a hard time determining which of these 5 would be best, but I tried. You ready for number 5?
Yep, number 5.
All right, number 5 is...
Oh, let me... are you going to pull it up?
Yeah, I've got it right here.
Okay, great.
And it's heavy because it's like the Royal Collector's Edition. This is...
Oh, nice.
Castles of Mad King Ludwig. So, Yeah, I love this game. One of the reasons why I love this game is it's one that when I suggest playing games, this is one my son and my daughter will happily play, so we can get the whole family at the table, even though it's not really that light or easy or clean, and it's definitely not a party game, but they all want to play. It has its history in the Winchester Mystery House. So Ted Alspach used to live, in the Bay Area, and that was the inspiration for this game. And that's another thing my kids have loved is going there. So yeah, I like tile games in general. I like building games, and this one with the tiles of all the different sizes that are really carefully designed so they fit together in different ways, and so many different paths to victory, and then all of the different varying win conditions in the game. Love it. Great game.
Are these swans the new one? Sorry.
The swans are like the scoring track, and there's also some variant that makes more of them. What I really like about the collector's edition is they did away with the S track.
Yeah.
S tracks I hate. I don't want an
That
S
one.
track in any game I play because it confuses me. So this one has this nice path, the gentle journey of the swans through the ponds. Anyway, it's fantastic.
That's nice. Yeah, I've never played that one, but it's definitely one that if somebody who knew how to play offered like 100%, I would like to learn how to play it because it seemed like the concept seemed really cool and very unique. Yeah.
We should see if we can find it online sometime. Maybe play it online. It's good. Well, they have it here on mobile, apparently. Katia, you're number 5.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so I had like 10 on my list. My number 5, I think I'm going to go with Terra Mystica. It's such a big game. It is so good. Every time I play it, I mean, I've talked about it before, but every time I play it, I have a good time. I suck at it. I don't think I've ever won a game of it. So I definitely don't have a winning strategy whatsoever, but I just really like all of the parts to it. I love that when you're placing buildings, you're gaining certain bonuses, and when you get them back, like you're having to, basically at some point you're going to upgrade, so you're going to get them back, but you're going to unlock something better. And then you have these little like purple magic points to use, and even the way that those pools work is clever. Like you're having to empty your first pool before you start moving things or something like that. Like it's I mean, the first time you learn it, it's definitely overwhelming. But I just love a game like that where there is so little amount of luck in it. It's all about your decision making and also navigating what other people do and where they go on the map. But it's also a game where, like, I like games where you can do your own thing. But in this one, you have to try and build beside people if you want to get the reduction in like resources that you have to pay and stuff like that. So it's a neat sort of like balance to try and like build your network, but also do it beside someone else so that you don't have to pay full price on your buildings. So I thought that was really cool. The bonuses, the tracks are really fun. Like there's a little bit of everything in that game, and I love it. It's a beast. Like it takes a couple hours if you have 4 players, but it's fantastic.
Yeah, it's a great game. It's on my short list.
Yeah.
Definitely. Great pick. So my number 5, this is the one I was actually going to say you could be a little mean to each other with, is Cyclades. This Bruno Catala. So if you've ever played, I don't know if you've ever played Cyclades or not.
I haven't played.
Cyclades. Trying to find a good spot. So there is, that's an awful picture, isn't there? So there's a map, islands and whatnot that you're on that they're not going to show me apparently. Here we go.
There we go.
Yay. Yeah, so the board kind of looks like that. You have different islands that you're on. The goal is just to build 2 metropolises. But of course, if someone comes along to a spot that you're building one, and then they have the other stuff to build it, and they take that part over, suddenly they have two, and they win, kind of thing. But gods go on this track right here, kind of randomly every round, and then you bid for the ability to do it. You're doing one action, or one god track. And so you're choosing if you're doing, with Poseidon, and that just means you're moving boats around. Or if you're doing Ares, you're just moving people around. But if you don't have your boats where they go, they can't leave the islands. There's other ways of winning that have nothing to do with like taking over people's stuff. You could win through philosophy and stuff like that. So it's a really interesting game. I haven't gotten to play it in a long time. And there's these cards that come out that kind of situational that basically like events where if you buy them, you can get the Pegasus. So this turn you can move people from one island to another or something like that. So it's a great game. There's some expansions to it. I've played some of them, like the Hades expansions and stuff like that. But I've heard that the Titans expansion is amazing, and I haven't gotten a chance to play that one or find it actually. So, but yeah, this one's been a favorite. This is the first game that turned me on to Bruno Catala actually. So.
Now I haven't played that, but I have played Kemet. And how would you compare this game to Kemet?
I haven't played Kemet. So, yeah. And I want to play Kemet so that I could compare. I know they recently made a new version of it, like a sharper version of it. So, yeah, I'd love to compare it. I've heard that Kemet is a little more military because you can win this game completely without going too hard. You can just kind of build up your defenses, then work hard at building your cities and building up philosophy. It's kind of like if you've ever played Inish. Inish is, just this constant, like, who has the right scenario, and then you win. And so everybody's trying to, no, you can't let them have that island, or else, that kind of thing. So, yeah. And barely fits in the Euro, I would say, but it is Euro because you never make a choice and then roll. It's just, all right, I'm moving my men here, and that means that I defeat this many kind of thing. Or I'm choosing this thing, I'm betting for this. I'm not betting, but bidding for this kind of thing. So I can make an argument there, but I could see where other people could argue against it.
I think all of our games at some point somebody could come up with an argument to discredit.
Maybe it'd be hard pressed to find someone to argue against Terra Mystica, I think. Because that is one of the, hero Euros, I think. All right, so number 4. Luke, your number 4?
All right, my number 4 is Castles of Burgundy.
Oh! That was my number 2.
I knew she'd have it in there. That's funny.
So this is interesting because this is... my opinion of Castles of Burgundy is Castles of Burgundy really only plays 2 and 3 player. I don't think it's very good as a 4-player game. I feel like it's, which is interesting because you take a game that's such a classic, so well loved, and you're really only going to play it with 1 or 2 other people. It becomes too long. There's too many changes in what's available between turns because you have a market of depleting tiles. And so you have to have like your 3rd and 4th backup plans when you play with 4 players. But it's a fantastic 2-player game. And so I've enjoyed playing this one quite a bit with my wife. And it is a fascinating game in that it is the dice determine your possible choices for each turn, and you make the most of it. So each turn you make the most of your options, and you have limited options, except that they can take you in a lot of different directions. So the adjacency of the hexagonal tiles is interesting. Essentially, the dice are like multi-use dice. The dice values are defining an action over here, or over there, or over there, or you can like give it up to give yourself basically bonuses on other dice rolls. So it's a fantastic game. I enjoy it every time I play it. And it's also just one of those games where just the variability and how the components come out make it so that every game is completely different.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. We're on a little bit of a delay from the comments, but some people enjoy all of those.
And I had to put in Stefan Feld in the top 5.
True.
Yeah, I agree. This is one of my all-time favorite games. I don't splurge on a lot of like extravagant deluxe things, but that was one that when it came up on Gamefound, I went all in. I was like, I love this game so much. I want the little castles. I want it all blinged out. It's so good. And I agree. The four player game drags on way too much, and by the time it gets back to you, all your options are gone. And it drags on more because of that, because you're having to come up with those backup plans. And I think that 2 and 3 is definitely the sweet spot. It's a really, really clever design. And I haven't seen other games that do what this does. And I love the combos that you can create with your actions, that it's like, I'm going to use this number to do this, which allows me to do this for free, which allows me to place this for free. And that's like, you feel so good when you have a turn where you got like 3 or 4 chain reactions like that. And that's the beauty of it. It's a fantastic game.
Isn't it funny how one game, an engine builder, you might have like 5 or 6 things you do on every turn. And this game is one of those games where most of the time you do one thing, 2 things. But if you could do 3 things, it feels like the best thing in the world.
Yep.
I did 3 things.
Yeah.
I've only played this once as a 2-player. I want to say maybe, 5 years ago, 6 years. I don't know when it came out, probably about a year after it came out or so. And I remember both of us just kind of like, it's all right. But people love it so much. I'm like, I guess I should try this again. Maybe I missed something.
Yeah.
So I still have it. So I'll try. It's on my try again shelf, which not a lot of games make it, but sometimes, because I have so many other games of opportunity or shame or whatever you want to call it, that I'm like, next one. But sometimes I'm like, no, I got to give that one another try. But people love it so much that I got to try it again.
Yeah, I think it definitely deserves another shot. And I mean, I think the base comes with different maps also. Like, so if you don't want to, play the same map, you can choose a different one and then it changes it up a bit. But yeah, like even like from game to game and depending on what map you have, you're going to have a different strategy. Like there are games where I've gone for like, try and get all the boats and stay ahead of everyone. So I'm always playing first. But there are games where I didn't go for boats at all, and I was always one of the last players to play, and I still got what I needed, and it still worked. Like it's interesting how the strategy can change from one game to the other, and it can still work out. So,
Nice.
And that's a Euro. That's a Euro that uses dice, and it's one of those ones where you can really hope for a certain roll and get it. And it can feel fantastic. And yeah, you'll have some other choices, but getting the right roll is such a great feeling. And I'm glad that it's there in this solid Euro.
Mm-hmm.
It's possible we had one of those weird games. If it's like Grand Austria Hotel, where, we played a game of that one time where we rolled and we never once rolled a 2 in the entire thing. So it was an entire action nobody could take, and it stifled the game a bit. So it's possible we had a weird game where we just weren't getting rolls that worked out well, right?
That's possible, but I feel like this game actually handles that. Like that's there. The ability to chuck a die and to get the workers that'll adjust your other dice. There's always a way around it.
Yeah.
Cool. Katia, your number 4?
Okay, well, do I shift things down and replace my number 2 when I get to it, or do I just do it now? I think I'm just going to do it now. So I'm going to shift everything. And, okay, so my number 4, instead of being what I was going to say. I'm going to replace it with Glenmore 2 Chronicles.
Or 2 Chronicles.
Yeah. It is a tile placement game that has like the, I don't know if you would call it a rondelle, but it's kind of like that, like leapfrogging mechanism. Basically, you are building your little kingdom. That's the market there that you see. And yeah, so you're building your little your kingdom, and you're gaining resources and adding tiles to it and getting points and stuff like that. That's one of the expansion, the Nessie expansion. And in the game, it rewards you for not building a massive kingdom. Basically, you're trying to be as efficient as possible, because if you have more tiles than your opponents, you're going to lose points for those extra tiles that you placed. You're trying to, like use your resources. That looks like the kind of thing I would make. You're trying to use the resources the best you can to achieve what you want. There's also another like piece of the board that has like a route, and you gain bonuses depending on where you go on that board. It just has like a lot of cool things in it. And yeah, like go back one more. Go back one picture.
Oops.
Oh.
This?
Yeah, so this shows that sort of like leapfrogging mechanism. So basically you're going to, like whoever's in last place is the next one to go and grab a tile. So if you jump really far ahead to grab a tile that you want, you're going to have to wait for people to catch up before you get a turn again. So like that mechanism was interesting. It's just a really, really good game. Like I found it's well-rounded. It just, I don't know, it's smooth. I don't know how else to describe it. It's really good.
Yeah, you brought this one up before. Sorry.
Does this one replace Glenmore? Like you don't need Glenmore because you have this one now?
I've never played Glenmore, but it seems like this one adds like that one board with the paths that give you bonuses. And it also adds like a bunch of little micro expansions that are really easy to add in. So I would say that, yeah, if you have this one, you don't need the other one. But I could be completely wrong. It's just from what I've seen, the other one just looks like it doesn't have some of that extra stuff. But like that piece there with those extra bonuses is actually quite fun to use. So I don't see myself not playing with it.
Going back.
So I would say if you have the option between the two, definitely go for this one.
Yeah, you brought this one up before, and I forgot about it, but it looks really fun to dive into. I need to try it.
Ooh, I like that somebody made little wooden buildings.
I know. I've seen it. I've been watching somebody's been going crazy with some of these resources.
And that's the other thing too. The resources are really cute. Like you get little sheep. You have your little wood that looks like the wood looks like a cinnamon bun, like a cinnamon roll.
Like
that? Yeah. I look at it and I'm like, I see a cinnamon roll. But
I could see that.
Yeah. And so, yeah, and there's a market to use. So depending on like how much stuff has been sold, then the value goes down, or like, so you have to kind of time when you're trading things. So yeah, it's a good one.
Can anyone actually pronounce any of the names of those things? I mean, it's like names of scotch. You just you wing it. You hope. You pull everything in your throat while you say it.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure if it's all like actual Scottish stuff.
I can say that one. Loch Ness.
Yeah.
Loch Ness.
Maybe. Old Cook.
Old Cook.
Yeah, you get it.
But it's good.
Just channel your Sean Connery. Okay, so my number 4 is Crusaders I Will Be Done. This is one of my favorite, Seth Jaffe. This is one of my favorite rondelles. Actually, I guess I would say it is my favorite rondelle to play. You have your own personal rondelle, and like a lot of rondelles, plus there's an orange player board, so obviously. You just choose the action you want to do. Like if I want to muster, then I have 4 in that, and then the rest of them disperse 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So you can choose any action you want. Usually, it's just like you kind of, oh, I want to do this one at a 5 instead, so let me do this and then move it around. Also, what's cool is you can flip these over and upgrade them so that they have 2 actions on them, and you could split it. So, like if this one flips over, it has a crusade and a travel on it. So you'd have 5 there. You could go, okay, I'm going to travel 2 and crusade with a 3 kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I haven't gotten to play the expansion the Renegade put out yet. It's also done by Seth Jaffe, but yeah, and it's real simple. The theme makes it sound like you're going around battling and all that stuff. You're actually thematically all on the same side. You're trying to spread the religion in the most non-realistic way, which is a good thing. But you're basically moving out and taking over spots and putting down churches and banks and castles and things like that, and getting bonuses depending on where you put those things. So it looks like they're using the wood bits in this picture, but I like using the plastic bits actually. So,
Chris, did you
some extra coins there?
So I actually got to play test this one before it was published.
Oh, great!
So a bunch of times I actually had my own copy. So that was awesome. So we saw it early on, pretty close to the final version. There were definitely some adjustments because some of the paths were a little bit broken. But yeah, I like everything about this game except that fighting doesn't feel like fighting. And then
that's why it fits on the Euro.
But some people would love that, right? It's like, well, I spent enough fighting points to take that spot, and now it's mine.
And it's not even you're fighting against that person. It's basically you're spending action points to take over a spot is all you're really doing. But yeah, I don't know. I get what you're saying, and I think it has a little bit of, when you see the theme, if you're the kind of person that wants, we get the battle and all that stuff, you're going to be a little disappointed because that's not what it is. But if you give it a chance as a Euro, I think you'll really enjoy it. I mean, as you build banks, then it unlocks these, increases your abilities and other things, and I just like that kind of stuff. I'm always happy to jump into this. I was almost the artist for this too, which I feel bad that didn't happen.
the rondell's like a Mancala.
Yeah.
Because you pull up all the stones and then you replace them, and then that changes the values of the actions. I think that's really interesting. It's Trajan, Stefan Feld game also does that, but it has color in it. Mm-hmm. And that color is brilliant, but that also makes it super confusing too.
Trajan was in my 10 that I have on my list.
Yeah, it's in my 15.
Yeah, so if I ran out of something, that would have come in play because it's a really, really good game. And
this is funny. They're trying to guess your next 3. That's obviously going to be about castles, since your last 2 are about castles.
Castles of what? Castles of Eldervale.
I should say actually, what I did whenever I grabbed my 5 is I looked at my top 10 games that I already had, and actually top 20 games I already had, and just picked out which were Euros and put them in place. I did actually take out Dwellings of Eldervale just because it would feel pandering.
Why, Chris?
It's in there.
Why?
I didn't want to pander.
In all fairness, Dwellings would also be in my top 5. It was a game that when I first played it, it blew my mind. It just did everything right, in my opinion. When I played it, I just felt like this gives me a little bit of everything in one game. And I love the tiling aspect of it. I love the getting your workers back and getting some action, getting to do things when you get your people back, because so many games do that whole, now you refresh or you, whatever they call it, you rest or whatever it is. And that's a turn that sucks, and you dread that turn, and you know it's coming. And so getting to do something when you do that is genius. And I love I actually enjoyed the battling. That people, some people are like, well, the battling is kind of like, it's a little bit random, but I liked it. And I have nothing but good things to say about the game. But yeah, I didn't put it in my top 5 just because we typically tend to do that when like the guest is here, but out there, I will say it. Yeah, Dwellings would be in my top 5, 100%.
Well,
I'll even go
my own games off of my own list as well. So, but when I'm gone, you could do the top 5 games that I've done, right?
I mean, Dwellings has been in several lists in other games,
Yeah.
And not to be a company man or anything, since I work for Cardboard Alchemy, but I think Andromeda's Edge is going to beat Dwellings, in my opinion, in my list. It's going to jump one ahead of it. But all right, so not to get totally off subject, we're on our number 3. So they're guessing it has to do with castles, but are you gonna?
No, not this time. I mean, there were probably some castles in this era, but so my computer's got to get lowered because this is underneath my computer.
Oh.
That's funny.
And it's really big.
Oh.
It's a feast for Odin. And yeah, were there Viking castles? I mean, we know they had ships. We know they, built longhouses and so on. But
I know Vikings eventually found castles.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think they stole them, but.
Well, in any case, this is a very peaceful game about, pillaging and whaling and killing animals and so on. Or you can just, completely go vegetarian and raise your cattle and get your milk. So what's interesting in this game is there's something like 60 different worker placement actions to choose from. And over the course of a 3-hour game, you will get to play 5 of those actions. But the way that it works is you can use multiple workers to take the higher level action. So you'll do fewer actions, but they might be bigger. Or you can choose the lower level actions and do more of the small itty bitty actions. But then your player board in front of you is this 2D grid that you're trying to fill and complete with these various shaped and sized pieces in order to avoid the negative score that will ensue if you don't cover everything that you're supposed to cover. So it's a fascinating game because it combines the worker placement. There's a lot of jockeying for position. It is good 2-player. It's good 3-player. This is another one where it's like, I don't know if we should let that 4th player in on this one, because that's going to add another hour and a half to the game. But the different paths that you can take and the different things that will come up, it's less a game about like, there are some cards in there, which actually are kind of a key part of the game, but it's not very many, and you're trying to pull off this tableau that's really about spatial and area relationships, which is really interesting. Getting the tiles upgraded to the right levels to be able to be placed on your grids. I just really enjoy this game. It's deep, it's rich. I've played not every Uwe Rosenberg game, but I've played many of them, and I feel like this is the one that fits me the best. So that's why it's here.
I've never played that one, but it looks like a beast to learn.
It's funny. I've taught this game, and I actually find it's fairly easy to teach.
Yeah.
It's super hard to win.
Okay.
But it's pretty easy to teach. It's like,
yeah, it looks like at first glance, it looks so overwhelming with how much stuff is on the table. Because it's a table hog from what I hear. And yeah, I just I think my brain would I would definitely need a player aid in something like this.
Yeah, I have this game and I have not cracked it open because I'm a little bit like, oh, it's pretty heavy. How much time do I have left in the day to learn this game? But I really want to. It's in the running for one of the next ones to be learned. We have Caverna and we love that one, or Caverna, depending on how you say it.
It's Caverna.
Caverna. Have you played that one? How's it kind of?
No,
Oh, okay.
I haven't. I've played Agricola. I've never played
Oh,
Caverna.
okay.
I've,
Yeah,
I've played it and it's quite good. I really like it, but I've never played Agricola, so
and I've only played the 2-player Agricola, the small animals one.
So-
okay.
Are we doing a top 5 games that we've played that no one else here has played?
Kind of seems that way, right?
We're all sitting here like, oh yeah, that's a good game. I should play it sometime.
Oh, you had 2 for Castles of Burgundy. All right, you're number 3, Katia.
Oh, hold on.
3-ish.
Okay, so 3-ish is gonna be I don't know how you pronounce it, but I pronounce it Orleans or Orleans. I don't know. Orleans.
Aren't you
You know
French?
which one I'm talking about? Yeah.
I think it's
Don't
Orleans.
you speak French?
Orleans.
Yeah, I would say for me it would be Orléans. So I'm
Yeah,
not
your native language is
but
French.
I don't think everybody pronounces it that way. But anywho. I played that only once and it like shot up to one of like my best gaming experiences. I really liked it. The bag building in this game, just the whole thing was enjoyable. I didn't really use the one area that I think you can send workers to that is kind of like off to the side. I forget what that was doing, but I didn't really use that.
The map.
It's when I think they gets like it's on like a separate board and it's they basically get stuck there, I think, once you send them there.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, I didn't really use that. But
the council
I really
member or something? This
I
one.
forget what it's called. Yeah, it's that you kind of see that gray board there.
Yeah.
I think I only used that maybe with like I sent 2 people there. But yeah, it's like overall the game was just like very yummy. I don't know how else to explain it. It was so satisfying. And it like I finished the game and I immediately wanted to play it again. And I don't get that feeling often, but that was one of them.
I love this game too. I need to get my son back to play it again because I played it with him and he had a super bad game of it. And it's a fantastic game. I love the connection between so you get the token that's the different kind of person, the worker that goes in your bag, and as you do, you're also progressing the track. That simultaneous kind of like moving on those tracks and getting the guys, and so you have kind of mixed motives with your choices. I really enjoy those mixed motives.
Yeah. In like if you compare this one to Altiplano, you can when you do Altiplano, you pick up tokens and stuff, but you don't get the reward of whatever's on that track. And that's why Orleans is just like a little bit better for me on Altiplano. It's like I like being able to go, well, I'll take the knight, but now next turn I can pull out more stuff, I like getting the little rewards and stuff with it. So,
but you don't like bag building games, do you, Chris?
I enjoy them a little bit. Yeah. Yeah, I do. Yeah. So here's one, all 3, big winner between all 3 of us, right?
Yep.
Okay. So then my number 3 is a new one. And I am surprised it's up on the list this fast, but I've played it enough times now. Art Nova. I think I've played it about 10 times, and it's a big game. It's hard to get it in there, but yeah, it's a big game. But I mean, it's not as big as the table makes it look. Okay, that's too close. Yeah, that's a good one. this whole part is your side, and then this is all as big as this looks. It's just a way of giving you card choices, really, and it's like a one little track in your score track. So it looks like a big table hog, and it kind of is. But this is a 2-player setup. It looks like there's this one little board over here that holds things, but it's actually pretty easy to get into, and a lot of people compare it to Terraforming Mars. And there's some similarities, but I've never been a big fan of Terraforming Mars. This one I am. And the main reason is Terraforming Mars, you can be like, you'll get a card at the beginning of the game and you go, oh, some kind of weird fungus. Okay, I'll focus on fungus. And then you'll never see fungus throughout the entire game. This one only has like 5 things to focus on. 5 animals and then like 5 regions. And you'll always see those kind of things pop up. So, and if you don't, you have this track thing that just like brings cards past you all the time. So it's a lot easier to get into. I really love this game. So
yeah, I have not tried it because it intimidates me.
That's what a lot of people say. I mean, it looks intimidating. It's really not. It's more of a card game than anything,
Okay.
Also, if you've ever, I used to bring up this game a lot, and it's not on here, but Civilization: A New Dawn. It has the same. Let me go back to that picture. It has the same kind of thing. These 5 cards are the actions you can do, and you only choose one action on your turn. And the further up the track they are, 1 through 5, is the more powerful they are. So if I choose to do this number 4, you're doing it at power 4, and then it goes to 1, and all these move up. It's a really clean, simple system. Sometimes you're like, man, I want to do this, but I got to wait till it gets up here, so I'll do that. Sacrifice choices and stuff like that. It's really interesting. So
I have not played yet. Definitely looking forward to it. I love the idea that you could charge up an action by delaying. I think that's fascinating.
Yeah, and there's different ways to earn. I'm not. Yeah, this little plus sign right here lets you can spend it to add a number to this too. So, they're kind of hard to get, but once you earn them in different ways, you start spending them and stuff.
I know sometimes like people hear like, oh, it's like Terraforming Mars, and then you're like, well, how is it? It's like kind of, but I think partly that's useful because Terraforming Mars became so overwhelmingly popular that it's become kind of like a new landmark where, games can be measured by how many degrees different they are from Terraforming Mars.
Right.
Unlike you, Chris, I love Terraforming Mars. It's a game I will play anytime.
I didn't hate it. It just didn't do for me whatever it did for everybody else. Yeah.
It's one of my son's favorite games, and that's part of what makes it fun because he really digs in and he knows all these different card combos, and we go back and forth with the area control. But this one, I'm really looking forward to it. Have you played Underwater Cities, and how would you compare it with Underwater Cities?
I have played Underwater Cities. I've only played it once, and it was, I want to say maybe about a year ago. I want to play it again. I remember enjoying it, and it was kind of a game where I was like, oh, okay, now I know what I should do next game. But now it's been so long that I don't remember what I should do next game, so the next game's going to feel like learning a game again. I enjoyed it, but I played this game the next day again, and then again the next day. So I will say this one grabbed me more than Underwater Cities, but I did enjoy it.
It's funny. I was actually thinking recently how we don't really see a lot about Underwater Cities anymore. I've also only played it once, and it was like several years ago. But I remember really enjoying it and really liking the card choices that you get to pick from. But I found it tricky. I definitely found it tricky to do well in the game as the first time experience. So it was something I wanted to try again. So yeah, I'm kind of curious if it's something that is similar to that, then I probably would enjoy something like this, but yeah.
I got to know what's going on in this picture. It's a 4-player game. That's player 1, 2, 3. And then this player's cards are sleeved. Why is nobody else's card sleeved?
Was it bring your own card day?
That was very strange.
Maybe that player was eating Cheetos and he's just being considerate.
That's right. That's the player who spilled on the game last time, and so they made them sleeve their cards.
That's
Yeah,
funny. How weird. Huh. Anyway,
that is funny.
Leavers. Did you see Peter said hi?
Hi, Peter.
You missed the quick discussion about dwellings.
We have to talk about Andromeda's Edge if Peter's in the house.
Oh yeah.
2 weeks. Gamefound, Andromeda's Edge.
Yes.
It's not just Dwellings in Space, yet it is everything you would want from Dwellings in Space.
And more.
Well, explain. Yeah, because it it was still in prototype form, but when I played it, I didn't get the sense. It didn't give me the feeling that, oh, this is Dwellings in Space. Like, not at all. It played different enough that I didn't get that impression. So I don't think it has changed enough to make people feel that way. So I think if you have Dwellings, you're going to want Andromeda's Edge as well, not feel like one replaces the other. So.
I would play both back to back, and I would feel completely different games.
And that's a full game day right there. That's a good one. A meaty game day.
All right, Luke, what's your number 2?
My number 2 is
Castles of...
I should be more ready. Castles of Dominion.
Ah.
Oh.
No one's going to argue against that.
Dominion absolutely wins in terms of number of plays. Dominion is so easy to get out and play anytime. I don't really play many games online. Almost everything I ever play in terms of, board game type games is in person. And this is one where, again, I can just pull it out, play it with anybody, and it's really easy to teach. And Dominion has that masterful turn structure where you just go clockwise, and every turn you get something. And what you get is what you now have to live with. And I just love that there's all these different the variants have appeared, and the number of combinations of what they call it, like your kingdom of the cards that you play with in a game. It's nearly infinite at this point. Mm-hmm. And I know that the criticism is that it is very thin on theme, and I'm fine with that. I love deeply themed games, but I think Dominion's gameplay more than makes up for the onion skin thin theming.
Sure. Yeah.
I played so much of it in the past. Like, I used to have, I think it was 4 different expansion boxes. And it was to the point that, like, when you set up, obviously, the more expansions you have, the more choices you have to set up your base kingdom of cards to pick from. But yeah, like, it got to a point that we would look at like recommendations set up that people have created just to sort of get rid of that, like, AP of which card do we play with this time? And it actually really helps with the setup, is if you like use one of those recommended, hey, if you want something that's a little bit more like mean, then these cards work well together, and then you just pull them out and it's like done. But yeah, that was a game that, it was one of the games that got me back into board games, and I played more games than I can count of it.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Euro Magic the Gathering. It's card play crack.
Yeah.
Aaron and I joined we played this so much that we thought, okay, we're doing pretty good. We're knocking out the game group and stuff. Let's play a tournament at a local convention. And we got the first person we sat down with said hi to us in a German accent. I was like, uh-oh. And that guy just slaughtered us. I mean, we were just like, we felt like it was the first time we ever played. Like, okay, well, I guess we didn't know what we were doing because that guy just decimated us. But he was nice guy, smiled, talked to us a little bit, and then left. But yeah, I will say that we slowed down a little bit on plays after that, but not because of that. It's just because at the time we started getting more stuff out. But every now and then it still comes back to the table. Yeah, it's a great game.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm pretty late in getting into Euro games, and my friend Greg Sauratari is one of the ones who really introduced me to games like these. And I believe it was the same night I learned Agricola is the same night I played Dominion. And I believe I played Dominion when there were no expansions yet.
Okay.
And but that's back when playing these Euro games was kind of a new and different thing for me.
That's cool. Yeah, I'm pretty sure when I started, I think there were no expansion, and then what was the first expansion?
Intrigue.
Intrigue came out like shortly after. So basically, like I had just gone into the game, and then the first expansion came out, bought that one. So yeah, it was pretty early on as well. Yeah.
I think they already had Intrigue out whenever I got it, but I remember they started coming out with the other ones pretty soon after that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Peter. Yeah, we talked about this earlier, actually, about what defines a Euro nowadays because things have blended up. I don't know. I would say Flamecraft is a Euro.
Definitely.
I think so too. Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt.
You have all the information to work with right in front of you.
I mean, if there's a variant where you could attack and kill other people's dragons, or take all their dragons,
just get some dice. Yeah.
So you make an expansion, you call it the non-Euro expansion.
Yeah. I would like to be able to take over markets for myself. That would be fun.
Every idea you give Peter just gives me more work, possibly, right?
Yes.
All right, Katia, you're number 2?
Hold on, where was I at? Oh, my number 2 is Istanbul.
Ooh.
Oh.
Which, fun fact for those watching, we were supposed to play it tonight, but apparently you need premium something on Tabletopia. So we're not going to do that. But that would have been really fun. Istanbul, okay, so I will say right off the bat, the only thing with it is you can kind of have a little bit of a runaway leader issue. Depending on how people's games are going, you might have somebody who starts pulling ahead and it's hard to catch up. So there is that. However, regardless, I find the game is still enjoyable every time because you could still kind of try and get to as close as you can to finishing first if you're a bit behind. But the worker mechanism in this game is where, for me, I found it really shines, is that you have this stack of discs, and that's what you use to move. You can move up to, I think it's 2 tiles away, and basically you move and you will you will leave 1 disc behind, and then you bring your stack with you. And then you move again on your next turn, and then you leave 1 disc there, and then you move. And at some point, you have to manage your movement so that you go back on those tiles to add that disc again. Otherwise, you run out of disc and you have to go to jail, I think it is, or something like that. Or you have to go to the fountain. I think it's the fountain.
Yeah, you go to the fountain and it sucks them all up. Yeah.
Yeah, but then you lose. And again, it's that whole like retrieving your workers and you get to do nothing else and it sucks. So you're trying to manage your movement efficiently, but also trying to get your discs back without wasting an entire turn going to the fountain to retrieve them. And if you land somewhere where there's already another player, you got to pay them a couple coins in order to use that space. So there's always like that sort of management of where you want to go to try and get the best turn for you, but you're also being mindful of where you've left those discs on the board so that you don't get too far. But then, like, depending on if you play with the Mocha expansion, I really like the Mocha expansion. There's a new tile ability that you can get that allows you to travel like completely across or like vertical. Like basically it allows you to go like a full straight line, so more than 2 spaces away. So that makes a difference. But yeah, there's some nice special abilities basically that you get from cards. You get upgrades by grabbing those tiles, like when you get them with your resources. So it uses resources. Your goal is to get the most amount of crystals before everybody else. And it's basically how the game works. You're trading resources to get crystals, and it's a gem of a game, is what it is.
I see what you did there.
I like this game, but I haven't played it enough to know everything about it. And I'm kind of wondering, so this is a game, when I saw it visually and mechanically, it right away was inspiring. Mm-hmm. It's just really inspiring to think of the idea that I can create a grid of actions and that players are going to be moving through these actions in a way that it's meaningful and interesting. How much variability is there in setup?
A lot. The only thing is that there are 2 tiles. I forget which ones, but they're like 2 tiles that have to be a certain amount of tiles away from each other. But aside from that, everything can be anywhere. So basically, like there are 2 tiles that they don't want you to have side by side because it would make things too easy to like go back and forth. So you have to put those like a certain amount of spaces away. But aside from that, I think you can basically have tiles in any setup. So that's one of the beauty of the game, is that you don't get stuck into like a certain pattern every game because it's so interchangeable.
Now in this picture, I can see the battle dice ready to go. So
yeah, I love this game too. I actually played it mobile.
I've actually had an experience playing this game where I saw. So when we talk about Euro, we talk about like open information, closed information, randomness of different kinds. And I've seen this happen in Feast for Odin, and I've seen this happen in Istanbul, where the card that you draw can really change your game. And it's not just that the card that you draw really has that much significance by itself, but it's that if I draw a card that's beneficial, that's here. If I draw a card that's not beneficial at all, that's like I actually invested to get that. So that's actually a loss. Mm-hmm. So the difference between a good card and a bad card is pretty huge. And so I've seen that in this game. Like a bad draw feels like almost worse than a bad dice roll.
Yeah, although I will say, like, you can draw off the top of this card that's face up, so you could decide to take this card.
This is true.
That's not a great card usually, so you might go, okay, I'll just pull from the deck, but at least you get a little choice.
The nice thing about the expansion is that you now have like 2 locations to get cards.
Yeah.
One other thing that I really like about this game is that, so when you go to the market, basically somebody goes and uses the one market, the tile there. When they use it, regardless of how many resources they get on that turn from that tile that's there, they will have to rotate the tile back to the bottom of the stack, and the market changes. Yeah. So that, and the other, like there's another tile there where you get resources. Every time that somebody lands there and uses it, it changes what becomes available. So you might get yourself ready to go to the market because you got the resources that are required to get a bunch of cash, and then somebody will go before you and then change the market completely, and then you're having to like readjust your strategy. And some people find that frustrating. I find that fun, because to me, that's like having to adjust your play as you go, and it's less predictable. I like games like that where you have to be adaptable. So to me, that I thought that was an interesting thing to do.
See, I would argue that it's not too bad when it happens, because like this right here, this tile says you need 3. You can spend up to 3 green, a red, and a yellow. If you move this over, it might say like 2 green, 2 red, and a yellow. Mm-hmm. Like you'll still be able to do something. You just might not be able to sell 5. You can sell 4. That kind of thing. Like there's always, you're never just wiped out. You're like, now I can't even go there, kind of thing.
Right.
So I do like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a great game. Good pick.
Mm-hmm.
So that was your number 2.
That was my number 2.
My number 2, I feel bad because I think I'm about to step on Luke's number 1. My number 2 is Concordia.
Never heard of it.
There's castles in it.
That's true.
Mm.
Yeah, my favorite thing about it is that there aren't many games that do this, but they have the action cards that you start with. These are all the actions you can do. You play it down, you do that one action, goes to the next person. It moves so quickly, and it looks complicated stuff. It's really not. It's such a simple game to teach and get into, but it's got such depth of, what do you do the next turn? Do you use this card that gives you more cards that you can continue going on? And the scoring mechanism is really interesting too, because each card that you start with and the cards that you buy to add to your hand, they all score differently. So like, one set of cards might give you points for all the different types of cities you have, but another set might give you points depending on what regions you're in. So it all just depends on how you build your empire and then your trade empire. And you can even see here, like, in Power Grid or something, you can share cities. It's just a little bit more expensive to get into them and stuff. I love playing this game. I'll always play it when it gets pulled out. I played it on my phone for a while, but for some reason it's not quite as fun on the phone. I think it's just because I like playing with other players and the AI isn't that great on the phone. But yeah, I can't say enough about the game. It's been between my 1 and 2 back and forth for, I don't know, as long as I've been playing it. So
this is one that's interesting because I don't know if it. So this is a game that never had, probably never made the BGG hotness list. It's never been a hot item. It's never been hype. It's never been the game that you waited in line to get. And it's ever since it's come out, it's just absolutely stellar game.
Trying to see.
I think
overall rank is 21. So.
Oh, that's pretty good.
But you're right, the hype isn't there. Nobody really hypes it.
But but it's a game that I've never heard somebody say that they played it and didn't like it. Like it's definitely well loved.
It's just not played a lot for some reason. I mean, some people might blame the Deanna Troi on the cover as kind of a boring cover or something, but you
can't say Deanna Troi and boring in the same sentence.
That's fair. But yeah, I will always try to get people to try this out if I think they'll even remotely like it. So, yep, Concordia, check it out. All right, so we're on to our number 1s. So now we get to see if I stepped on someone's toes.
Oh, it's
Luke?
my turn, right? I go number 1?
Yep.
Let's see what I got here. Deanna Troi.
Yeah.
All right, but I have way better stuff to say about this game, so you don't get anything from me.
Awesome.
All right. So, one of the games in your top 5 was designed by Seth Jaffe.
Mm-hmm.
Seth Jaffe is the person who taught me how to play Concordia.
That's funny.
Strategicon in Los Angeles, I sat down with Seth and Mark and Christina Major, who were also used to be members of the League of Game Makers. And I think there was one other player in that game, but I can't remember. I don't know if Peter was in that game or not. I know Peter was at that convention. But I learned to play Concordia. I think I won that game. And this is a game where I win like a disproportionate amount of the games I play. Not just because I teach people wrong and make them suffer, but because there are so many games, including games that I design, there's so many games where when you diversify, you lose. And I like to play games where I dabble. I go in a certain direction, I go in another direction, and I can't bring myself to ignore a whole aspect of the game and really focus my strategy. So I find that sometimes, so I'm super bad at games like Terra Mystica. I'm super bad at games like Gaia Project, where the game literally tells you these are your best moves. Mm-hmm. Like you can look ahead and see, oh, I can see what the best moves are. I got to do that. And I sit down and I play that game like, but maybe I could do it differently. And I'm wrong, because you can't do it differently. You have to go with the things that are the highest scoring things in those games. The path is predetermined. Go on the path and win, or deviate from the path and lose. And so, my game styles. So Dwellings of Eldervale, Andromeda's Edge, Manhattan Project Energy Empire, Cryo. These are all games where you can go in all kinds of different directions, and you're allowed to shift during the game without penalty. And that sometimes the changes in the board state and the changes that are due to other players' choices necessitate that you've got to go another way. I love the idea that a game can reward you for recognizing low-hanging fruit that other people have missed. So those opportunities and those combos that it's going to work for you, but for someone else, it may not be so meaningful. So Concordia has a brilliance in that it's one of the easiest games to teach. You tell a person, on your turn, you're going to play one of your cards, and then your turn is over. And you're going to do that until the game is over. And that's literally how you play the game. And the card tells you what to do. And so I love that leanness and simplicity in a game that actually takes you in so many different directions. And it's one of those games where, like I said, you kind of have to go in a bunch of different directions in order to make the most of your opportunities. Right. If you ignore any part of the game, you're probably getting a little bit behind. A super hyper-focused strategy is usually not the way to go in Concordia.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember one gameplay. One of the first cards that came out was the farmer one, where it's like you get rewarded for wheat. I was like, I'm grabbing that, and that's all I'm going to care about is wheat. And at the end of the game, I was like, half the points of other people, because I just didn't care about anything else other than that. And I spent more money than I should have and tried too much. And I was like, oh, okay. You mean I should have paid attention more than just one thing. Wheat. And you're so right. You have to, it's not stressful either. You're just like, oh, and now I can pivot here. Now I can pivot here. Now I can pivot here. And you get wheat and bricks and whatever else you want to do. But yeah, it's great.
I think there's a life lesson in that.
Probably it's probably to play more Concordia.
Concordia, my number one Euro game.
Nice. What's your number one, Katia?
Okay, so I mean, I wasn't sure if Five Tribes is looked at as a Euro game. It's a very strategic game. To me, it's a Euro, but I mean, I mention it all the time. Everybody knows it's my favorite game, so I'm going to the next one on my list.
Oh, you don't want me to type in?
What's that?
Five Tribes?
I can't see that. No, it's fine, because I talk about it all the time. Okay. So I'm gonna make my next suggestion, which is another fantastic game, Rajas of the Ganges. That game is another one that offers you a little bit of everything in the whole game. So there is you're using dice, you're using workers, there are resources, there is tile placement, there are tracks, and I love the bonuses that you get from building your little whatever castle, whatever you want to call it, your little board. You're adding like different markets and things like that and roads onto there. So you're adding your tiles. When you reach the edges, you get bonuses. Those tiles will also score you when you go to certain spot on the board. And the way that the game plays is that there are 2 tracks. There's one, I think it's money. The other one is something like fame or whatever they call it. And you're trying to get your 2 pawns to cross each other on those tracks. And that's what makes you win the game. So basically, it's whoever has crossed first or has crossed the furthest if several people had their 2 tracks meet up. I thought that was really cool because it's no other game does that I know that I've
Art
played.
Nova does.
Does it? Well, there you go. And so that alone is super unique, and you get bonuses the further you get on those tracks. But yeah, ultimately it's a worker placement, like you see there. You're trying to claim spots and get points and do things, but you're using these dice as, in a way, resources. For example, when you go to purchase a tile, you're going to have to put your guy on the space that allows you to purchase a tile, but you're having to purchase the tile with your dice. So you're trying to get like enough pips on a certain color to be able to purchase that colored tile. So it's a lot of things. There's a lot going on, but at the same time, it's just so good. It looks busy, but it's so good. Just trust me and play it.
What's the best player count?
3 is good. 4 gets a little tight. I find it's not a game that causes AP. If you have 4 players, it's not because there's only so many spots you can go, and you have your dice to work with. If at some point you run low on dice, your options get lower, so you're having to either like trade what you have to get more, or eventually your options narrow down, so you're not going to spend 5 minutes figuring out your turn. I find, I would say 3 is probably the sweet spot. I find a lot of games 3 players is the sweet spot to me, because it gives you a little bit more of that tension than just with 2, and it ends up not being too long. So that's probably what I would recommend is 3 players. But it's really good. And as you get onto, like, as you get further into the tracks or you get further onto that river, you unlock more workers. So it's kind of like that race to try and get further on the one track so you can get that extra worker, so you'll get more turns. It's a really good balance in the game. Like, you cannot ignore, I think, either track. You have to do a little bit of both. But yeah, the more you play it, obviously you start to like notice some strategies. But depending on who you play with, then that might not work for you. So it's just brilliant. It's a great game.
Nice. You said if the first person to pass their own is the winner?
Yeah, basically. So if only one person crosses the 2 track, or like have their 2 tracks meet, that's who wins. I believe that's what triggers game end. But if nobody else has their track crossed, then that person wins. If other people cross their tracks, it's whoever crosses by the furthest. Yeah, so you want more spaces in between your 2 tokens after they've crossed paths.
Same thing for Art Nova. I think you'd like it.
Well, then maybe I should try it.
Peter, I'm surprised you've never played Concordia with Luke. That seems like a missed opportunity.
So here's another Concordia story.
Go ahead.
Peter brought me back Concordia Venus from Essen several years ago as a gift. He even had it signed. So yeah, he brought that back signed. It's Mac Gertz, I think is the designer. So the sad news about Concordia Venus is I never played it the way it was supposed to be played, which is like it's supposed to be like a 2-on-2 team game, you and your partner. But instead, I've put 2-on-2 in Dwellings of Eldervale as a variant, and I played it and I love it. And we have a 2-on-2 variant in Andromeda's Edge. So the idea of playing side by side with a partner head to head against other players comes from Concordia Venus.
That's cool.
That's pretty
I
cool.
like
concept.
when games do that.
Yeah.
I when I had first played Garinto, which is a completely abstract game, that was one of the things that I thought was really neat, is that if you play 4 players, you can play it teamed, so 2 versus 2, and it completely changes the way that you're strategizing. You're having to like work together, but you have to split what you grab, and I just, there's something fun about being like 2-on-2, and it creates a whole new dynamic around the table.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, my final number 1. I don't feel so bad about stepping on Luke's number 1 because Katia stepped on mine.
Oh,
Orleans.
I think I know that one too.
Yeah, I love bag builders. In fact, Altiplano would probably technically be in this list as well, probably right behind this one, if not a couple back. But I just kind of wanted a variant amount, So, so this is Orleans / Altiplano kind of thing. And there are several other games that are starting to come out. I even like Meebles and Monsters, though not getting a lot of people loving it for some reason. But the whole bag building thing is, you can say it's kind of like deck building, only it's, pieces in a bag and stuff. But it's a little more simplified than that because when, with deck building, you could put a whole bunch of stuff on a card. But with bag building, when you pull out the thing, instantly all of the things you can do with it are in, like, that's all you can do, and it depends on where you put it and in combination with the other stuff you pull. My favorite thing about games is pivoting. Like the minute I see, okay, what am I dealing with now? What best can I do here? Oh, now I have to move over here, so I'll pivot and do this. So these kind of games make me just to keep me engaged nonstop. If it's the kind of game that you have, all right, I have this long-term goal and I have all these boring turns to get to that long-term goal, that's not my kind of thing. So that's why I like Orleans. It's 16 rounds. It's easy. It's, well, we've already talked about it a lot. So I enjoy trying different things whenever I do it, different rooms and different, not rooms, different buildings. And sometimes just like, you know what, I'm going to ignore farmers completely and just have one little farmer this whole time. And I play differently every time.
You just have it both ways. Sometimes you're just all about the wheat, and then other times you just completely ignore the farmers.
Yep. Although you'll start feeling that, because if you're the lowest one on that farmer track, you start losing money and you start filling it after a while. But yeah. So we're only on.
When you play, do you play with expansions? So I don't really know anything about expansions for Orleans.
Yeah, I don't have any of the expansions for it. The first expansion they came out with was one that I believe was one that was going to make it cooperative. And I was like, nah, don't turn my favorite game into a cooperative. I like the way it is now. So I just left it alone. But I know that there's other stuff for it. And I just never really needed to expand it.
So it was a complete, perfect game. Out of the box.
For me. Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, and, I lucked out in that I backed it at the Kickstarter. So I have the nice, big, giant, all the good wooden bits and stuff like that you can't hardly get anymore. So it's always nice whenever you take the risk of getting the big version of a awesome game, and then it turns out to be one of your favorite games, right?
So this was Tasty Minstrel did the Kickstarter for
Yeah.
that?
Yep.
So you had 2 Tasty Minstrels on your list.
I do. That's true.
That's interesting.
Unfortunately, they're no longer a company, but
Mm-hmm.
they had great games. I liked a lot of their games. Yeah.
Yeah. Before we move into anything else, I forgot we didn't do announcements.
Oh yeah.
We talked about it off air, but as people have noticed, Michael is not here tonight, but he will actually be joining the group of Board Game Rundown for Whiskey Wednesday this week at 8 p.m. and they're doing 8 p.m. Eastern time, and they're doing top 5 orange components, something like that. So
What?
It's
They
in
didn't invite
honor
Chris?
of the full 42.
Are they sure they got the right host? To
But yeah. Well, because you can't brag about your own game. So, anyways, so yes, make sure you tune in to Board Game Rundown.
There you go.
That's a good one.
That's an orange component.
Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, so that was our number 5. Any other announcements before we?
No, that was all.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks for reminding me about that.
I know I felt really bad for the last 10 minutes. I realized we forgot to do that.
Yeah, I noticed it right when we started. I was like, no, well, we'll get back to it. So I'm glad you remembered because I'd forgotten by now. I have a quick little trivia for you guys. And unfortunately, some of these are going to be easy because we talked about some of them. So if you have something to write with or little whiteboard or piece of paper, anything like that, then you can get ready. But it's going to be a component trivia. So I'm going to show you an image, and you're going to write down what game you think it comes from, and we give out points for it. So I'm going to put down an L and a K, and I'll keep up with the tracks. There's 17 of these.
I'm so going to lose this.
Maybe not.
She's like the component expert in the world.
Yeah, I understand that you have a little bit of a disadvantage. But to be fair, sometimes I'll ask her, what's that? And you'll be like, it's a tree, but you don't know where it's from because sometimes you get components in bags, right?
This is true.
So you don't always know.
This is true. So
we'll see. Okay, we'll start off with a really easy one because I showed it quite a bit as we talked. So write down, and also the comments can play along as they want. Just don't read the comments until you write yours down.
Oh.
So write down, what is this from?
Why do I feel like I'm wrong on this?
It'll be funny if you are.
I might be.
All right. What you got? Istanbul. Correct? Yep. That's the smuggler token.
Oh, it totally
what
looks
are
like
the
a
cubes
smuggler.
for?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It tells you that whenever you move it, you get to take one good.
See, that's how you know it's a euro.
Yeah.
A cylinder with
That's
the
the
grid
smuggler.
of 4 squares on top and rainbow colors
Yes.
is a smuggler.
It's a smuggler.
100% smuggler.
Yeah.
I was thinking it was a minotaur, but if you say smuggler, okay.
All right. Point for each of you. All right. Next one.
Oh shit! I don't know this one.
This one's hard. Some of these are going to be tough. Let's see if it comes. Got a guess in the comments that's wrong.
I have them all. Like
It's a
I'm
good-
not looking at comments.
It's a good guess, though. All right, what's your guess? Agricola is incorrect. Andromeda's Edge incorrect, although I can make it happen. No.
Ah,
No, the correct answer is La Granja.
Oh.
Either one of you have played
I've
that
never
one?
played that, but I hear good things about it.
I think you'd really like it based off of some of the choices. Have you ever
Yeah.
played it, Luke?
I have. I had the pleasure of picking it up at Gen Con. Bought it straight from Stephen Bonacore.
Yep,
Ah.
I did too. Actually, I wonder if that was the same year.
Yeah, I pushed you out of the way to get mine.
It is not Dwellings either. There are no donkeys in Dwellings.
Multi-use cards. Great game.
Mhm.
Yeah. All right, so no points there. All right, should get some points here. What is that?
What?
I should make the ones that, well, I won't say anything. Got your guess?
I'm so
Yeah, I don't
right.
think I got this right, but
Nah, I'm so right.
What do we got? Dune Imperium? Dune? Nope, neither one of you. Although it's interesting that you both tried it.
it's a sand dune.
Well,
I should give Katia a -1 point because it's from Terra Mystica.
oh,
Oh, it's the ones you
Yep.
flip the terrain things.
Yep.
Wait, have you played Terra Mystica?
They're round.
Yeah, they are.
So what's funny is Dune Imperium has no color in it at all. It's like
Yeah.
3 shades of brown gray.
Yeah,
There's no color at all.
I know.
Oh.
My
It's
defense
another
will be that I don't actually own Terra Mystica.
I mean, when we were looking through pictures, I saw pictures of this component.
Oh.
I was like, oh, that's funny. And it just kept going. Do you mean Forbidden Desert? That would have been a good guess.
I
too.
know because I played Forbidden Desert lots, but no, the tile is like a weird shape.
I did specifically pick the desert one because it's not the terrain anybody thinks about in Terra Mystica.
Okay, but we're not wrong because I'm sure Terra Mystica's Dune planets were inspired by Dune.
How about this incredibly hard one?
Come on.
You might be right and wrong in the same way because it is a pretty basic shape.
Multiple games. I'm certain.
Yeah, I
True.
was gonna say you could argue that that's
Sort
like-
of. I will tell you this is bigger than usual ones.
Okay, well that
I'd
shouldn't
say
be a
it's
thing.
probably about that big, if that helps.
I totally know this one.
Okay. Crusaders, incorrect. Dwellings of Elderfell, incorrect.
No, it's the prototype.
Prototype.
Oh, the prototype. That's
It's
funny,
100%
actually.
Correct.
That's funny, actually. I found the prototype yesterday while I was unpacking.
But wait a minute. When you showed us Crusaders, did you not have that as your rondelle thing?
No, those are hexes, perfect hexes, and they're gold. This is the garbage in Power Grid,
Oh, I wouldn't know that. I've never
which
played
is like actually a little thicker and bigger than normal ones. But yeah, I knew that'd be a tough one.
So we use almost the same component in Dwellings. Those are little markers on the tracks.
that. Yes.
Yeah. I think they're a little thinner though.
Did you
Yeah,
measure?
they are less long.
Less long.
It's chunkier
Or
in
tall. Yeah,
Power Grid.
chunkier.
Wait, which is chunkier?
Power Grid.
Which one's extra creamy?
Dwellings? All right, how about this one?
That's a graphic arts nightmare.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels like it's off centered, not on purpose.
Hmm.
Could be that neither one of you get this one.
Yeah, I'm
There's
gonna be
some
wrong.
there's
be
gonna be some
wrong on
easier
this.
ones. There's gonna be some easier ones, but we're kind of in the hard ones at this point. Yeah, we've got we've got several guesses. The comments are having issues with these hard ones. Okay. Inish, no. Hanabi, yes.
What?
Yes. Yeah, so they have these little tokens that
Explosion thing, or
yeah, this is the one that's the fuse one that
yeah.
it's at the end of the fuse, so it's just a spark. Yeah.
Is Hanabi the one where everybody else sees your cards?
Yeah.
Yep. I think that's the first game that kind of did that. And there's been a few afterwards that did it.
Well, there was the
Katia,
one where you,
right?
like walk around with a something on your head.
Well, that's
Oh.
true. Where you write the name of it, yeah. Here's an easy one for everybody.
How is that? Oh, I know. Took me a second. Well, we talked about them.
Show it. Yes, of course. It's the farmer.
The farmer.
Hang on. So you both get a point there. So yeah, I said there'd be some easy ones. How about here's another one to complain about.
Oh. I'm unsure, so I put in a question mark.
Concordia, correct on both. Good job. Next one. Ooh, okay.
What is happening to this four-armed person? What?
It's a popular game.
I'm going with something I've never played.
It's an
I've never
it's an
seen
older
it.
game. I'll give you that hint. It's
No
an older
hints.
game. Grand Austria Hotel. Stone Age is correct.
Damn it. I've never played that.
You knew which one it was without any hints, right?
Stone Age is a must.
Yes.
All
So
time
what's
classic.
going on with this little fellow? Like, why does he look this way?
I guess it's like hair or something. I don't know what's going on with it
They
looks
didn't
like
have
forearm.
anything sharp enough yet to cut giant manes of hair.
I'm more concerned about the butterfly look.
Those are the skins to keep you warm.
Maybe they're just
he
trying
has
to
the
be-
maybe he has the muffin top, like the
Maybe they were
Oh.
just trying to be different from
maybe.
what's it called? Carcassonne with their meeples kind of thing. I don't know.
This was cutting edge at the time. I mean, this is cutting the edge of the stone to make these.
I mean, he's detailed, but I just don't know what it represents. But I feel like I should own those to put them in my work.
Oh yeah. How about that one?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if I keep writing it, it's going to be True Point, right?
It is Kingdom Builder. Luke is now one above you.
So this is the effect of randomness, because I've played like 5 games and you just happen to be picking ones from games I've played.
Well, I am kind of trying to stick around Euro just because of the theme of the show.
Keep up with the old
fair
ones.
Adventures of Cheeseman. Expansion Sharp Cheddar.
that was for the little yellow.
All right. How about this one? Now this one's tricky.
That looks like a first player marker to me.
This one's a little bit of a cheat, and I'll explain why.
Because you made it? You cheated?
No, I didn't actually. I don't think I made any of these. No, I didn't.
This is a wild guess.
All right. What you got? Lanterns is correct.
Whoa!
Wow.
Okay, so here's the crazy randomness. I played Lanterns before it was published also. So
Really nice.
Yeah, Randy Hoyt was demoing that at Gen Con, and I saw Lanterns before it was a thing.
So the
But
reason why I said
I
it's a
knew
little
there
bit
was a boat in it. I knew it stuck out. I didn't remember it looked like that.
the reason why I said it's a little bit cheat is that they no longer put the boat in there. It was just first edition that has the boat.
Oh.
Your check's in the mail, Chris.
Yep. How about this one?
Oh, I know that.
I thought that one might be a little helpful for Katia.
And I'm really glad that I'm currently hiding the box with my body.
I'm actually surprised this didn't end up on your list.
It's behind me. Yeah, I know. It's because, yeah, I guess it would count as a Euro.
I got to talk to Evan next time I need to
Damn
correct
it.
from both of you. Nice.
I needed you to get this one wrong.
I've actually never played.
It's a good guess then.
Just a good guess.
So you really did give him the list, and your check is in the mail. I see.
I gotta next time I need to name a game, I gotta ask Evan. He's like filling up our comments with potion implosion. Cardinor is wow. I'm surprised. Most people don't even know what that game is. It's a good game. It just never got looked at. Next one.
Oh, that's easy.
It's easy.
It's a little bit of an oldie.
Hey, we said no hints.
Oh, now you don't want hints. You know it.
I did not ask for a hint earlier, but he said no hints.
Fair enough.
Yeah, see?
Survive. Wow.
What?
Yeah.
I knew there were sharks in that. I didn't know there was a whale. I just guessed.
Yep. All right.
That was a totally lucky guess. I've gotten 3 lucky guesses. Survive, Alchemist.
Here is one possible 2 points here if you're very specific.
What?
You can get 1 point, but possible 2 points if you're specific.
It's only going to be 1 point, I think.
It is Dinosaur Island, yes, but it's from the expansion. So I was going to give you the expansion if you gave me the expansion name. So, but you both get the 1 point.
I need Luke to stop getting them right.
Sorry.
So I can catch up.
Yeah, you are 2 points behind.
I
It
know.
is 9-7. But there's still 4 more. So
Okay.
there we go. How about that one? I like Luke's face.
Heck.
I have no clue whatsoever.
This would have been one that Mike could have caught up on, I think.
What the hell?
Yeah, right.
What is that?
This is your chance.
I mean, what?
It's a gerbil bird with a backpack.
Of course. Like usual.
I know this
Ready?
is wrong, but I'm going to write this anyways.
All right.
I know it's not
Wingspan, incorrect. Catan, incorrect. It is Near and Far by Red Raven Games.
Oh, gosh. Wait, is that the one I have?
Yes, I think it is. Oh, no, you have Above and Below.
Above and Below.
You have Above and Below. Yep.
Which is unplayed, so I mean.
Oh.
Yeah.
I have neither here nor there.
How about this one?
Oh. That. Oh my god, you're gonna make me lose my job.
Kiwi Traders.
Oh, I don't know which one. Oh my god. Hold on a second.
Uh,
Oh my
right now
god.
you're losing the component game. How is that possible?
Hold on a second. No, it's not.
Photosynthesis, both correct.
Oh, okay. So I thought at first glance, I was like, wait, is this Bosque? I'm like, no, no, the trees look nicer than that. And then I thought, is it Tang Garden? If I miss Tang Garden, Gone is going to be pissed at me. And
I
then I
thought
thought,
about it.
no, I'm pretty sure they're not like that either. So it had to be
I
the other
thought
one.
about putting one in there, but I thought that'd be unfair to Luke. All right. 2 more. You need both of these, Katia,
Yeah, and I need Luke to screw up.
to tie.
So whenever you want to stop getting that, what? But I need this. What game's it from?
Uh-oh, the name of the game has just blanked out of my head.
Oh yeah, you said you didn't have your insert sheet.
Yeah. I mean, I know the cover, but the name of the game, hold on. Oh, I got it. Okay. Photonogenesis. No.
I don't know what that is. Oh man. There's not a lot of games that have that color scheme either.
That is a super unique component. I'm sure I would know that one had I seen it before.
Yeah, I definitely haven't seen it before, so I'm gonna go with I don't know. I'm just gonna make something up.
It's a boat held up by tentacles or corn.
Feed
I'm
the
making this up.
Kraken. Battlestar Galactica. No, it's Jamaica.
Oh, never played it.
You've never played Jamaica? Oh, I think
No.
you'd like it. All
But I
right.
like the little boats.
Final one.
Oh, what's the other?
Should I say a hint? We've mentioned the designer's name today.
Bruno Knizia.
I don't know what
That'd
that
be
leaf
weird,
is
Matt.
from. I don't have that leaf.
But you want that leaf.
I want that leaf. Oh man, I don't know. I'm blanking out. What's the new plant game that came out? I don't know. I'll go with the one that's on my shelf there, but it's not that. I know it doesn't look like that.
Clans of Caledonia. That's an excellent game, but no. What was the other one you picked? What did you
Planted?
say? Incorrect?
Yeah.
Nope. This was from Carpe Diem.
Oh, never played that either.
Feld game. It's very good.
I thought I would get Clans of Caledonia into the conversation since it didn't get in anybody's top 5.
Yeah, it's definitely in top 20, if maybe not top 15. I do love that game. So, with the final score of 10 Luke and 8 Katia, he's now I don't know if we can continue to call you the Baroness of Bits on the intro. Can't win the components game.
Those were not all wooden bits. Some of those were
That's true.
tokens.
That's the thing. I only really work with certain things. I like cards and cardboard chips is where you lose me. But it's okay. It's still fun.
That was fun. And it's even funner that I won.
That makes it more fun.
You get the bragging rights now.
Yeah, that's not a euro.
No. Have you played Clans of Caledonia, Katia?
No.
It is a really it's a really deep kind of market game, really. But I mean, I don't know. Is it deep or is it just like a lot going on?
It's another one that's fabulous 2-player. Peter taught me to play, Peter Vaughn, and it's the combination of what you do on the board on the hexagonal grid, along with how values change for different things. It's fascinating. It is a brain burn. But what's really unique about that game is it's a giant game in a small box.
Yeah.
It's very efficient. It's very efficient in its physical design, which is fantastic. My games don't do that. They take up as much table space as possible. Energy Empire is pretty darn efficient on table space.
That's true.
That kind of works with the title.
Well, I mean,
efficiency.
Your games are pretty big, but I think you and the mix of Peter Vaughn make double size.
Right.
Yeah.
More minis, more stuff.
Yes. And all fun stuff to play too. I've gotten plenty of games that, you open up and you're like, look at all these minis and stuff, but they're all kind of the same thing and all that. I really like that you just want to play with every little bit of these games. Like, let me try with these hexes. Let me try with these monsters this time and stuff. So.
Oh, for me, it comes down to the little roof going on top of the guy.
I remember the conversation of how that would be. We had so many different roofs making that roof. I made a roof. I think we had our sculptor make the roof that's in there now, but we went with all different types of looks for that roof and stuff. Yeah, that was fun. It was fun to work on.
The trick was, so when I first made it, I made it out of wood. So I had a wooden meeple with a wooden, it was a wooden chevron that I got from some bulk supply sale of wooden bits. And I'd kind of ground out the middle of it so it fit on the meeple like a hat. But it was so big that it looked like a house. Like there was no mistaking it for the house. And the challenge when we were doing Dwellings of Eldervale was there's so many ways to put a really cool hat on a meeple. But some of them they would make it look like he was the little, those little gnomes, garden gnomes with the really tall hat or something like that. Or so the trick was to get it back to so that the meeple becomes a house. And I was really happy with the way it turned out.
Yeah.
It was very clever design.
Thank you.
Well, we've had a pretty good, strong game. Episode. Do we want to move on to a game or call it a night? I know it's getting a little late over there, but
I think for me, I would probably call it there. But
all right.
Yeah.
And I'm good calling it. Definitely have to work tomorrow.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for coming on, Luke. Let's talk just real quickly about Andromeda's Edge because Peter will kill me if we don't. But no, it's coming on the 31st, right? Gamefound. We're going to have, I believe we're going to have Peter on. I don't know the exact date right now without looking at the calendar, but we're going to have Peter on and we're going to play Andromeda's Edge on a future episode.
Oh, nice.
So that'll be fun. People will get to see it. I think it's going to be during the campaign. So it'll be, in case you miss it, you just keep up with our episodes and we'll direct you there stat. I'll also put the link to following for Andromeda's Edge into our description. I'm surprised I didn't do that already. And if you follow right now, you get those space dragons for free. So good reason to follow. Yes, February 6th. That's when. Yeah. There's no killing in Andromeda's Edge. Well, I don't want to go to the scrapyard either.
Chris in the scrapyard.
Yeah.
We
got our shirts on too. Don't know if Peter saw that or not, but nope. Computer wants to talk to me. Go away.
Well, what should I talk about? You guys fire questions at me about Andromeda's Edge, and I will make up answers.
Tell our viewers in a nutshell, like, what is the game about? What is the goal of the game? What are you trying to achieve to win?
So Andromeda's Edge takes place on the edge of the Andromeda galaxy. It's played over a hexagonal board. It has engine building of a tableau that kind of manifests itself in a way that is super explosive. It has a gigantic amount of engine building, but it also has aspects that are similar to Dwellings of Eldervale, with area control, ships doing battle for position, all kinds of different actions that you engage in on the board, and it's worker placement where you place on the board determines your future possible actions. The big things that we strive for in Dwellings of Eldervale were, how do we tell all of the different stories of fantasy in one game? And in Dwellings of Eldervale, we feel like we tapped into lots of different kind of fantasy experiences that you would have in the fantasy genre, and then doing the same kind of thing in Andromeda's Edge. So you're going to have alien creatures. You're going to have starships and spaceships. You're going to have this idea that there's technology, that the technology is advancing and upgrading. You can put the shields up. You can divert your energy to weapons. You can jump the ship into or out of battle. You can do Star Trek-like diplomacy. You can fly into the treacherous nebula. So you have all of those kinds of things that you experience in sci-fi wrapped into a game that really is a Euro/hybrid game, because there is that battle aspect to it. There's a lot of things that people asked for in Dwellings of Eldervale that are in Andromeda's Edge. And as a result, it makes it a bigger, more complex game, but it doesn't actually make it a significantly longer game. And part of that is because the engine building is bigger. So you actually might engage in fewer turns of Andromeda's Edge, but over the course of the game, you will build this gigantic tableau and do much more in the course of your turns. Anyway, I'm super happy with it. It's actually so much better than I thought it could be. I think when we started on the path, there was like, how much do we want to make it similar to Dwellings? How much do we want to make it different? Because Dwellings has really hit kind of a magic sweet spot for a lot of players. And I think Andromeda's Edge is going to hit a sweet spot, but it might not be for exactly the same players. I think there's some players who are going to be like, I'm a little more like a Dwellings person. I want to play a game that's slightly less complex, that has fewer steps to take to get where I'm at. And then there are those players who really want a little more meat. They want a little more complexity. They want a little more of that kind of that gritty kind of feel that you get in this science fiction world. But I'll tell you what, one of the biggest things that I can say about Andromeda's Edge is that the vast majority of people haven't seen barely any of it yet. Because, yeah, there's some videos out, and they are showing prototypes, and the things that I've seen, it's incredible. We could have Roy Batty kind of speech about how amazing this universe is in Andromeda's Edge. The art is incredible. There's going to be a lot of reveals during the campaign. Be looking for things like factions that you haven't heard of yet. I don't want to go too far. I might.
Yeah, I know. I was just looking at some stuff. I was like, what can I show? I was like, oh, I can't show that. Can't show that. I was like, I better not show anything.
So you both have like things blinking on your screens from Peter saying, no, don't shut it.
Shut it down. No, people will see it pretty soon.
That's why my hands are off the keyboard. Everything I say is just an unconfirmed rumor. Unconfirmed rumors. Yeah. No, So Peter, as a developer, absolutely is super detail oriented on, and the focus is on how to make that gameplay feel very special. And so, so he has that knack, and I have the let's not make the game broken knack. So when you put that together, it's like, how do you create this experience that's just incredible with this, really solid game that's going to stand the test of time. And then also, it's got to be the kind of game where even if you don't get the full blinged out version, you don't get all the minis, you miss the Gamefound campaign, you'll still have a game that you will love.
Yep.
And that's what we're doing.
That sounds awesome. That's exciting.
All right. Well, thanks again for coming. It was fun. I agree with everybody's list, the ones I've played. Anything else that you'd like to say on the way out?
It was my pleasure. I really appreciate being here. I've got a nice solid list of games that I have to and must play because of there were a few that I hadn't always wanted to and missed the opportunity.
Yeah, and like I said, I mean, I didn't put 5 Tribes in my list, but if you've never played it, it's a must.
Oh, I played 5 Tribes. I know.
I actually left it off my list so I wouldn't step on yours, and then you stepped on my early on, and I thought, should I put 5 Tribes back on my list?
What's funny is that we each stole one from each other. I got my Castles of Burgundy taken away from me.
That's true. That's funny. Okay, so it's all even.
That's all fair.
I stuck with my list.
Yeah, but it's you two had good lists for sure. So.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for watching.
Thanks for coming
talk
on
to you
the
later.
show, Luke.
Take care. Thank you.
Bye.
See you online.